Welcome to Take a Cue, Season 4, Episode 3.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, music educators, welcome to Take a Cue, the podcast that helps you hit the right notes in your band room, one rehearsal at a time. I'm Jen Wise, professional baton dropper and occasional miracle worker.
And I'm Erik. Between the two of us, we've got over 40 years of teaching experience, teaching band in New Jersey public schools. And trust us, we've seen it all. Missing mallets, unexpected key changes, and that one clarinet squeak that always arrives right on cue at the concert.
Whether you're brand new or a seasoned pro, Take a Cue is here to spark ideas, share strategies, and remind you why band directing is one of the best gigs around.
From classroom hacks to performance tips, we've got practical advice, real stories, and just enough humor to get you through your next rehearsal.
If you're enjoying the show, give us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast app. It helps more music educators find us.
And stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Take a Cue Podcast. We'd love to hear your stories, swap ideas, and celebrate the wins, big or small.
So grab your baton, tune up those instruments, and get ready to bring out the best in your students and yourself.
This is Take a Cue. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Erik. So good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
It's turkey time. Woo.
Holy moly.
I know.
Yeah, we've been away for a few weeks here from the podcast, just trying to stay afloat.
Yeah.
I'm sure any of our listeners can understand.
Yeah, I mean, the fall's just crazy, wrapping up marching band season and gearing up for musicals and the holidays and, oh my gosh, everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, there's a 5-year-old in my house. Good God. The holiday season is life. So, yeah.
You know who's more excited in our house about Christmas time is Maggie, our 12-year-old.
Really? Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Meanwhile, TJ walked into Target and was like, the turkey hasn't even come. What is all this Christmas stuff? I'm out of here.
Maggie's the same. Kate's the same. I'm sorry. Kate's the same. She was like, no Christmas yet.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's like, yeah, what about the turkey? He's like, there's not a single turkey here. I'm like, I know, bud. I know. Well, it's called,
man.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, but holiday cheer is brewing. I'll say that. So
it is.
Yeah.
And you're getting ready for your concert. When is yours again?
Not till January. So I have a little breathing room, but unfortunately, I just gave out a new round of schedules for the winter, December, January. The last few rehearsals until the concert are on there. And guess how many rehearsals we have left till the concert?
3.
6 or 7.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm not kidding. I had to say it to all my classes. So it is what it is. But that was my last rehearsal at the end of last week. So, yeah, what can you do?
Got it. Oh, I haven't even counted yet. I probably should do that. I don't really count down till December.
Yeah. Because yours is coming up quite a bit sooner. You probably just have, a few weeks left, right?
Oh, no, we're in January also.
Oh, you're in January. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the chorus concert and the orchestra concert are both in December because I know that the ladies like to have their concerts before the break, but Brendan and I are fine having it after the break.
After, yeah.
Kind of just one fewer, like you said, one fewer thing to be feeling, overwhelmed about.
Yeah, these couple weeks. So, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, I feel like right now the bands are on track. They could do a December concert.
Yeah.
Some years they could, some years they can't. Mm-hmm. How about your guys? How are they coming along?
I think they could do 2 out of their 3 pieces within the next week or 2. But our goal for December is to make sure we can run everything top to bottom. So when we come back in January for those last 3 or 4 rehearsals, it's just refreshing everything, refining, making some more music out of it. That was our plan. We set that goal for ourselves for the month of December. We'll see if it happens or not. So
awesome.
But yeah.
So Jen, our idea today was to sort of walk through each other's rehearsals.
Yes.
And to get an idea of how we pace our rehearsals, what they would look like if any of our listeners just decided to pop on into our rooms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think this is pretty great because we're all, We're all looking at what we do. And if you're doing a December or January concert, you might be looking for a reset in this department. I know I've had years like that where like, oh man, I just gotta, shift how I start my rehearsal, how I end my rehearsal, how I transition. So, hopefully something sparks something for you here, hearing about what we do. So,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jen, what's it look like when I come to your ensemble? This is like a pre-observation conference.
I know.
What am I going to see when I come in to watch you?
I don't leave much to chance at least in the first rehearsals. I really don't. There are name tags on the music stands, like with double-sided so they can see one side and I can see their name in those first rehearsals so they know exactly where to go. I don't have to direct anybody, flutes over here, percussion over here. I don't have to do any of that. On the board is a pretty clear warm-up, like warm up using this. Warm up, brass, warm up on your mouthpieces only. And in the lesson before that, honestly, all this starts before that because in their lesson before their first rehearsal, I say to every lesson group, whether I know they know it or not, I say to them, show me if I said to the band next Tuesday when we're rehearsing, if I said to the band, what does rest position look like? Show it to me right now. And they'll either snap into it or they'll look around and go, and then we have to learn rest position. So, we kind of set it up ahead of time, just like a taste of what that is in lessons so that when I step in front of them the first time and I say, all right, everybody rest position, I say nothing more than that. And they know what that is because it's really hard to move on, if not everybody's on the same page with that. So we have a big poster in the front of the board that we make together, like rest position is this, and just like 3 things, so yeah.
And for our listeners that may not know exactly how Jen's, year starts, they don't start band right away. And here in New Jersey, it's pretty regular that, elementary schools are going to have 1 rehearsal a week. Mm-hmm. So you start your lessons before your band rehearsals, correct?
I do. I try and get at least 2, maybe 3 lessons in before our first rehearsals. So yeah,
that's nice. You get a chance to go over some of those ensemble things in lessons first.
Yeah. And I like I said, I don't leave anything to chance. Like walking in that room, they have a pretty good idea of where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. And you could probably tell I keep most things in the positive, but I do add a little bit of things you will not do. Like I do that because like I said, I can usually trust them, but like I say out loud, I'm like, you're not going to walk in and make party noises on your clarinet mouthpiece. We're just not going to play it like a party popper. You're not going to squeak. You're not going to, and then they laugh and I'm like, no, I mean it. And I give like the stern face. And they're like, oh, okay. All right. And then the first time that does happen, I squash it like a bug because that can get out of control so quickly. So yeah. I set that up ahead of time. And like I said, most of it's in the positive. We will do this. We do this because, it helps everybody have a good rehearsal and, so we could hear ourselves. And, like brass buzzes on the mouthpiece really only until we play together. They'll buzz the whole time.
So they're allowed to play when they come in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because, and I say to like, I have one band right now that for some reason, they're just, I get it. It's 7:15 on a Tuesday. They're asleep. They're just asleep when they walk in. And it's rare that they'll walk in and just like whip open their cases, assemble their stuff, ready to go play. So I'll have to say to them, like, I'm about to start in 40 seconds and I've heard like a toot from a flute and that's it. And I'm like, guys, please don't make the first note of the day the one you play with me. You got to play something. You got to check your reed. You have to, brass players buzz something. I don't care if it's jingle bells, just buzz it, and because that's like the worst feeling. You go to make a sound on your instrument and you realize, oh, I forgot to put the bell on. Real story, clarinet player last week. I just, it happens. So I do let them play but we do a few minutes of warm up in every lesson. So you think they might know what that process looks and feels like by the time we start our first rehearsal. So
That's great. I think that's good to give the kids some autonomy when they come in, and as long as they don't abuse that privilege.
yeah, right. And if they are, like I said, I squash it right away. I get right on it. And it gives me a chance to kind of circulate and help people. And I usually don't have a big long line in front of the room, like to like asking me questions and all that. And we don't. There's none of that. So everybody just kind of comes in and does, what they're supposed to do. So
How do
yeah.
they know when rehearsal is going to start?
If I have a podium, I step up on there and just kind of a little smile and a wave, and they know. I don't have one at one of my schools, so I just do like 2 little claps, and then they just kind of get quiet and go to rest position. But they do know that they need to go to rest position when I'm ready to start, because
I like that.
like I said, we established that before they come in for that first thing. Don't really say much at the beginning of rehearsal, more than like, breathe with me. And then I'll say like in for 4, out for 4, in for 4, out for 8. We'll do like 90 seconds to 3 minutes of breathing gym stuff, whatever it is that day, like pre-teach some dynamics with air, something like that. And again, I really don't talk at all until the warm-up's done. Then they find out what the plan is for the day, and the pieces we're going to rehearse are on the board, but like our goals for those pieces, sometimes I'll put them up there, but sometimes I just put the list of pieces, and then we kind of talk through it, and I'll add the goals up there as we go. But, I try and say, like Peter Boonshaft had that in one of his books, like, 5 words or less when you stop, especially during the warm-ups. Like I just want them to play. So, I try and keep it to about 5 minutes, because my rehearsals are only about 35 minutes. So 5 minutes of playing warm-ups, and then we attempt to just rehearse the rest of the time. So like 3 minutes of packing up at the end.
Yeah.
So
but ours are at the same time. So yeah, you get like 20, you're lucky if you get 25 minutes of playing.
Yeah, right. And that's, 25 would be nice, especially with the strings. Oh, good God, the tuning. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But, I start with, before we play an exercise, whatever it is, I'll have them just kind of hold one pitch, like the first pitch of the exercise. I'll say, okay, look at the first note, memorize it, look up, breathe with me, hold it out, find a warm sound, right? Just to kind of get those kids who maybe came in late, like didn't get a chance to play in that, warm up yourself time. They could play a pitch with the band. I'll usually cut them off a few seconds in and just be like, okay, now do it with a warmer sound. Now do it with a fuller sound. Now do it with I'll give them some kind of, I'll give them at least 2 chances, sometimes 3, to just play that first pitch, find that first pitch. We'll hum it, we'll sing it at each other, and then we're off with the first, warm up. So
Nice.
Start with long tones with percussion.
Yeah. I was going to ask, what are the warm-ups like?
Yeah, like something long tones-ish, whole notes with 2 beats of rest in between, whole notes with 4 beats of rest in between. I have some homemade stuff. There's a page or 2 in the Essential Elements book 1 that I'll use. I've used the McAllister warm-ups before. Those are good. I like those more in the spaces that I have like a sound system, where eventually I can play the accompaniment tracks and everything for them while they play, but I don't have that in all my rehearsal spaces, and it's kind of a lot to set up by 7:15. I'm not saying we never do it. I'm just saying, some of the things from the book work a little better for them. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Then we'll do some kind of, and their percussion always has something to do. Of course, they're not just like whack on a whole note. Wait, whack, wait. So yeah, they've got something to do. I make sure they have some kind of rhythm. And then we'll do a rhythm A2, get them counting, clapping, tapping their foot. Whether I pull something from their music and have it up on the board, or, if there's something in the book that we can use if we're all kind of in the same place. And then some kind of technique, we'll do that. 5-note scale, 6-note scale, up and down, sing it first. This year I haven't gone crazy with the solfeging. I was forever. Like I always did that. And this year, it was just kind of like a step we missed. I don't know. It was just like, I don't know. It wasn't as successful last year. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to skip the solfeging thing for now. We'll just use numbers. We'll just hum, and I'll see if I'm saving any kind of instructional time by not doing the solfeging. I'll probably go back to it next year. I think I like it. I think they should do it. Maybe there'll be the right moment after this concert to introduce it and try and get it going. But but that's where I would kind of do that. So and then we dig into the rep. So I try not to spend more than 10 minutes on a piece because they start to get squishy on me. They lose it. Their faces get a little tired after that. I'll
tell you, not much changes by the time they get to 8th grade. Mm-hmm. They are the same squishy faces after 10 minutes.
After 10 minutes, right? And that's I get that. It's a lot, but you have to play 20 minutes straight in your concert, guys. So let's, but still, 10 minutes on one piece, I feel like I start to lose them. So I kind of, set myself a 7.5 minute timer in my mind and then pick a big chunk of music. All right, we're going to run this and then we're moving on to this. And sometimes I'll have percussion transition at that point, or I'm always having the percussion transition while I'm introducing the goals for the next piece, unless it has to do with the percussion. Right. So
yes.
Yeah. And that's a big thing, because if they stand around listening to, the explanation of why the flutes need to change their dynamic on this, then we're waiting for them to set up, or so we set it up in the first couple of rehearsals that percussionists are going to transition in absolute silence. I'm sure they have their own language back there and hand signals. I don't know, but they get pretty good at it. So that's good. I try and end every rehearsal with a large chunk of music, a large, bit of playing, maybe a turn and talk. I always leave my announcements to the end. I used to try and find the right spot, maybe I'll talk about the lesson schedule and pepper in this announcement and this, and then we'll do the last piece of the day. No, we save our announcements for the end because we just got to play and play and play. And, the announcements I could always post in their Schoology classroom or something if we lose that time. But the playing is, yeah.
Right. Well, it sounds like you get a lot done, Jan, in a short amount of time.
Yeah, barring any major interruptions.
I know some of our colleagues in the South, are going to do beginning band every day.
Yeah. I love that idea.
And you've got one day a week.
I get one day a week. We get a morning rehearsal before school and a lesson on the same day, and that's it. That's what we get for the week. And it's see you next week. Something that I find helps with that is that the last couple of years I've put my percussionists on a different day. They're my percussion lessons. So right now, for example, I have a band that rehearses on Friday. I see my percussionist for lessons on Thursday. So it's 2 days of FaceTime with me. They get to sleep on whatever we practiced the day before. I have to be honest that most of them leave their big old percussion kits at school that night, so they don't have to haul it back and forth, and They just bring their sticks home in their folder to practice on that Thursday night. But we get to go over everything we're going to do in the rehearsal. And I feel like doing that, that band, the percussionists are much more efficient than my other group where I have to see them on the same day as a rehearsal. It's I'm seeing my percussionist after the rehearsal, after we've made poor transitions or, lost track of each other after, and I'm just I wish I could see them the day before. I wish I could, fix that scheduling thing and see, do what I do at my other school and see my percussionists, the day before I feel like that does something for that group. So
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally get it. We try to have our percussionists in our small ensemble class, first marking period for that same reason, to really get them going and set up and know where everything is, because it's so much more involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get ready for an ensemble when you're a percussionist than it is when you're a clarinetist or a flutist.
Yeah.
Everybody has like 3 or 4 instruments to get ready. You know, you got to be running around. You got to make sure your music is where it is. You got to make sure you have the right mallets and the right sticks and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
And like, this is the beginning band part of it. Like this year, I have like basically like a custom traps area for this concert cycle. And I like basically took like painter's tape and it's like, I made it in the shape of a triangle. This is where the triangle lives. This is where the triangle beater lives. If you play it, you put it right back there. And it's like, you can't miss it because it says triangle beater. Like I wrote it in Sharpie on the painter's tape. Like I said, I'm leaving very little to chance because
no, that's really important.
You know,
that's really important, especially at that age.
Yeah. And with a once a week rehearsal, I don't have time for somebody in the back to be like, where's the triangle? I'm like, that's your triangle, man. I don't know. Like I gave you a spot for it. If you didn't put it back there, on you got to figure that out,
That sounds like a you problem.
That sounds like a you problem. So you better practice that ding because that's all that's all you're gonna get from me. I don't have another triangle for you. So
I like it.
But yeah, I think that's a big factor in keeping my rehearsal flow. Does yours look similar? I feel like that's a pretty tried and true, like what I do is a pretty tried and true, rehearsal flow, but I'm sure you have different, tips and tricks that kind of, are similar to that.
Yeah, for the overarching scheme of the rehearsal, it's very similar for sure. Some of the details are a bit different. Because I have a band room, I can go in ahead of time and project what we're doing on the projector every time I go in. So Brendan actually started doing this, when he came in, and I stole this idea from him, was that we have a Google Slides document set up.
Yeah.
And each rehearsal gets a slide.
Okay.
And then for the next rehearsal, we just add another slide to the beginning.
I do. That's what I do too. So I can
awesome.
See what I did last week because I can't promise I'll remember. So
yes, it helps. It helps the kids because they can. I post it on Schoology so they can go look.
Oh, cool. That's
see what we did. But it's also for me, so I know what we've worked on. And if there's any spots in the music where I'm like, oh, you know what, we haven't worked measure 60 to 67 or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's really a good idea to help the kids and to help us as teachers. So anyway, when they come in, it shows the rehearsal order. It shows the announcements separate. Next to the rehearsal order, we're going measures 1 to 4. And we're working on balance, or we're going, we're working on the ending and we're working on articulation. So it'll show exactly where we're playing and what we're working on for the rehearsal.
Cool.
When they come in, I usually try to meet them at the door, though my room is so packed full of children this year. It's a room really built for 50 and there's 84 kids in band. So sometimes I can't get to the back door.
Right.
But I try to meet them at the door when they come in and just say hi, and everything's on the board, so I don't have to tell them what to do. But then the same as your band, they kind of get their instruments together, they get their music out, and they do their warm-ups individually before we get started as a group. And I do remind them pretty regularly about what appropriate warm-ups are.
Yeah.
And inappropriate warm-ups are. And there have been, occasions where I've had to say, okay, you were not safe this week in how you warmed up. So this coming week, you will not play a note until we play together. It's rare. But sometimes, they lose the privilege of being able to warm up together.
Gotcha.
Because again, in our room, it's so small that it really can get to be an unsafe volume.
Yeah, sure. I get that.
If trumpets are playing high note contests and clarinets are wailing on their newly found high C sharps and Ds or anything like that. But that's the warm up. And then, early on when they come in, they put their name tents over their stand, which I give them, and they have their binders and they put their music, I always hole punch the music and they put it right in their binders. So they have it, for band, rehearsals. And then, really we just practice when a conductor gets on the podium, what do you do? And the longer it takes them to get quiet, the more we practice it. Yep. I'll get off the podium and I'll say, okay, everybody have conversations. Then I'll get on the podium and I'll see how long it takes. And then if they don't do it fast enough, then we'll get off the podium and we'll try it again. And they really don't like it.
Yeah. They'd rather be playing, but it's necessary.
It is.
Yeah.
But really having those high expectations at the beginning of the year really sets the year up in a better way.
Yeah.
But I'll still do it now in November. I'll still do it now if they're having trouble getting quiet and ready for the rehearsal. So anyway, so the while we're getting ready, the percussion is getting set. They're going to get set for their first band piece. So whatever they play in the first rehearsed piece is what they're going to be warming up on.
I do the same thing. Yeah, I do the same thing because
so they'll rotate. Sometimes they'll play mallets for warm up. Sometimes they'll play triangle for warm ups or whatever. But it makes it easier because then you can just transition right into the first piece.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I should say for our listeners that my rehearsals are every other day, and they're about 43 minutes total. But we don't get that much time to play, of course. But so what we usually do is we start with the McAllister warm-ups. I use the comprehensive warm-ups, and Brendan still uses the young ensemble warm-ups. They're just a continuation of each other. And it's great because we can do long tones. We can do singing and playing. We can do flexibility studies. We always do the lip flexes for brass. And then as they go through the flexibility studies, they're adding more and more partials. So we can, if I know that we're playing Jurassic Park and we're playing up to high E flats, we're going to make sure that we do those warm-ups up to E for the trumpets. Yeah. They have articulation exercises. So if I know that we're going to be working on articulations in one of the pieces, we'll do the articulation exercises to sort of get their brains going in that direction. Same thing for dynamics. Then there's chorales. The nice thing about these warm-ups too is that the percussion works on their own technique. So they're not just sitting there. They're kind of, they've got their own stuff to do. They're doing 8 on a hand with legato strokes. They're doing flams, flam taps. They're doing paradiddles. They're working on their rolls. So there's always something for them to work on technique-wise. And we go over that in lessons so that they know what's expected when they come into the ensemble.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. I like that, like the articulations from, like if you're going to have working on a section that's like articulation heavy, you have to warm that up. So
sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we could talk, and we get into how are we going to make our staccatos in this piece? Are they going to be stopped with the tongue really short? Are they going to be air stops? Let's practice our air stops on the staccato exercises this week. Let's practice our tongue stops on the staccato exercises this week. So you can really tailor it toward what's in the music.
Yeah.
And I find that really, really valuable. If there's any strange rhythmic figures, this usually happens earlier in the concert prep season, but if there's any strange rhythmic figures for the ensemble, I'll usually write them out in like Note Flight and then put a screenshot of it on the overhead. I keep saying overhead. I'm so old. On the on the whiteboard. I'll put it up there so that they can work on that. We can count it, we can clap it, we can play it on a note of their choosing, and then when they see it in the music, obviously it's going to help them out.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a while though. The music that we're playing, they're pretty solid on the rhythms at this point.
Yeah.
On Wednesdays, we wear
pink.
But we also do breathing gym exercises.
Oh, yeah.
On Wednesdays, we'll do the flow exercises. And then as we go through, we do some airspeed exercises. As a matter of fact, there is an episode earlier on our podcast. One of the takeaways is on the breathing gym.
The breathing gym. I love it. I've done it all like beginner version of the breathing gym, but they all breathe. They can all do it.
Yeah.
They can all do it all. So they
That's
might
how you
not
get
be
good
able
tone.
to. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yep. On Mondays, we do rhythm of the day, though this year I've kind of fallen away from that. I need to get better back at it, where basically they just have one measure of a rhythm that might be a bit challenging. We learn it as an ensemble, and then they write it down on a piece of paper where they have like blank measures.
Cool.
Yep.
That's like dictation, like that dictation style.
No, it's on the board.
It's on the board. Okay.
It's literacy.
Okay.
But it may be something that's a little bit harder than perhaps what they're seeing in the music for that concert, just to get them used to counting out loud. I mean, we do this in lessons all the time, but it's nice to just kind of get them thinking rhythmically. I wish I could do it every day, but it usually it's just Mondays. Though, like I said, this year I've honestly forgotten about it this year.
Yeah.
So I should probably get back to doing that again.
Now I was going to say, I have a question for you. Do you have an aisle in the middle? I would bet with like 80 kids in that room, you don't right now, but to have you, I don't know. I'm just wondering.
I do. I do keep an aisle in the middle,
Okay.
and I keep the ends of the rows. There's about 1.5 foot space between the end of the row and the wall.
Okay.
So I can walk around the ensemble, and I really do try to do that every time we have warm-ups.
Okay.
I love to walk around the ensemble. I'll check posture. I will, make sure that they're prepared and make sure that they're not just, make sure that they don't have like some, random book out on their stand that they're reading while they're pretending to play or things like that.
Gotcha. Never seen that before.
No, never. But the percussion, I'll make my way back to the percussion just to make sure that they've got the right, mallets out and right music out. And if there's any trouble and any questions about anything, they can ask. Occasionally I'll remind them about their stick technique or things like that.
Yeah.
But it's just a way to make sure that they know that I'm not, that I'm just there and, always watching.
Yeah. Do you ever break out an instrument in rehearsal, or are you always conductor?
I'll break it out.
Okay.
Not regularly, especially not later in the concert season. But especially when we're learning something new.
Yeah.
And having a little demonstration might help.
That's good.
But if they're like not getting an articulation or something like that, I'll break out usually the trumpet. Just because it's easier just to pick it up, but they don't have to worry about a reed being dry.
Totally.
Or whatever. So I'll just grab a trumpet and I'll be like, all right, I want you guys to match this articulation, and I'll play it. And then, they'll echo it back or something like that.
I get that.
Do you?
I do. And in the spring, when I bring my beginners in with my second year students, I do instrument of the week as part of the warm up. And so
Nice.
I'll play all the rhythms. I'll play the, rote stuff. Like we'll usually like solfege it, sing it. I'll play it on whatever the instrument of the week is. And then they echo it. So,
Awesome.
so that I do keep an instrument close by, because it's just like sometimes the 3 trombones versus the 8 trumpets aren't, holding the line, and I've got to just kind of jump in and I do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We spent so much time, you and I both, talking about our warm-ups for the ensembles, which really take 5 to 7 minutes.
Right.
But they're so important. I think, I would think most directors probably know how to run a rehearsal, like know how to rehearse a piece. You play it, you listen for what needs to be fixed, and you fix it. Right. I mean, you want to look ahead, you want to have your plan. But at the same time, the warm-ups can really, affect your rehearsal, whether it's super effective or not.
Yeah.
So I think the time that we spent talking about our warm-ups was really important. And connecting the warm-ups to the ensemble work as much as possible.
Yeah, that's a big one. Is like, it's like pre-teaching. It's like getting that, hitting the concept from all sides, So
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's
absolutely.
great.
And there's no reason that when we're in the middle of rehearsing a piece, that if something's not working right, get out your warm-ups and we're going to go work on this in the warm-ups again. Even halfway through a rehearsal, right?
Yeah, totally. Yep. Definitely.
They're not getting the
something.
articulations. All right, everybody, take out your staccato articulation work. We're going to go back and fix that.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
It's definitely super important. I only have like 2 bullets for the actual band music rehearsal time on our notes, and I've got like 10 bullets on warm-ups. There's only enough time in my rehearsal after doing warm-ups and getting instruments out. By the way, I do announcements after the warm-ups because I always forget to do them at the end of the period.
Okay.
So anyway, so after all that's done, 10 to 15 minutes per piece if we're lucky. More like 10 minutes per piece.
Yeah.
And I only do 2 a rehearsal. If I try to get in all 3, it's just not enough time. But I will say that for you, that's a different situation because you only see them once a week. I know if I don't get to something on Monday, I'm going to see them again on Wednesday.
Right. And like, I'll try and get to all 3. What I usually will do is like, I'll rehearse 2, like, really rehearse them. And then the third one, it'll be like, let's review what we did with this last week. Let's see if, we can keep it up. Okay. Thanks. Have a great week. You're like, that'll be the last thing we do is like, is a review from the previous week. Unless I am we're going to work on something really, really hard, like something I know they're going to struggle with, then I'll do the review right after warm up and pump them up and then hit them, hit
Yes.
them with the hard stuff after that. So yeah.
But that's really important, Jen. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I do a similar thing. I try to anyway, which is, we keep track of our rehearsal Google slides, right? So I'll look back and go, okay, what did we do the last time on this piece?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start with that this time.
Yeah.
To make sure that it's stuck in their heads.
It's so
even if it's
hard
a
for me.
one-time rep.
I know. That's really hard for me to do because I just want to do the new thing and get it right. I just want to jump to the new stuff. And I know they're not ready for me because, by the time our warm-up's over, it's 7:25. No, they're not ready for me to beat them up on something that they're not confident on. I always have to remind myself to do the review thing because I just don't want to.
Same here.
So,
and I will say that I don't always do it. I'll look at the time and I'll go, okay, we need 10 solid minutes on this new thing.
Right. Totally.
So we're not going to review what we did last time. But I think the more that we can do that, the better it is for the kids because there's the continuity. Things stick better from repetition's sake.
Yeah.
And I like to just ask them. I always say, okay, guys, we're going to work on this. We did this last time we worked on thawing. We did this passage. Raise your hand if you could tell me, what did we work on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And hopefully hands go up.
Yeah. Like what are some kind of like stock questions you have for your group? Like what are the questions you find yourself asking them all the time?
Oh my gosh. What I just told you was it's a very broad, non-leading question. Or I might say in a section, okay, guys, what was the problem with this section last time we ran it?
Yeah, right.
Or what would make this particular section better as an ensemble?
Yeah, yeah.
They're more open-ended questions. I mean, I can ask them leading questions like, okay, everybody look at this rhythm.
Right.
Does anybody remember how we articulate it?
Yeah, no, but that's like a specific thing. Yeah.
And that's okay. What about you?
My first rehearsals, we play for maybe like a minute. Maybe we'll play one exercise, we'll play for maybe a minute. And then I'll just stop and say, what'd you hear? And it's like crickets. It's like, wait a minute, we're supposed to be listening to other, that's the first time they really I really start to ask them to listen, and that's so, and we answer the question in our own very, rudimentary way. And then, we start to talk about, your responsibility is to be here to play, but also to listen and figure out, how your part goes with everybody else. Right. And when you say that, there's that old adage, like your practice time is when you learn your part and rehearsals when you learn everybody else's part. Right. So, so that in in our very first rehearsal, that's my first question to them is, what did you hear? What did you hear? And I know I ask it at least once a rehearsal, and somebody in the room usually finds the thing that we're supposed to be listening for. So yeah, I like that.
I ask that question of the percussion a lot because if we're working on something with the woodwinds or the brass or something like that, I'll remind the percussion beforehand. I'm like, percussion, I'm going to come to you after we're done, and I want you to talk to me about what you heard. So it reminds them, oh, right, I'm still involved in this particular moment. I'm still engaged
in the process. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm sure you run into this too, Jen, is that there's just so little time after the kids come in. I'm sure your kids are late because their parents are dropping them off for early morning band.
Totally.
The kids come in, they get set. They're probably chit-chatty. They get to see their friends they haven't seen in a while. They're getting their instruments out maybe not quite as fast as they could.
Yeah.
But, part of band is that social moment. So I try not to get too upset as long as they're actually doing the thing. And then there's the time at the end to pack up and to be able to go, for us, to go to their lockers, to put their instruments back in their lockers and their music away. So I feel like every moment is so critical. Sometimes I just tell the kids at the end of rehearsal, I'm like, guys, I feel like we just started.
Right.
And the rehearsal's over. Like we just started making some progress.
Just started making music here. I get that. I totally get that, Yeah. And I know. It's like there's never enough time. Yeah, never enough time to make the music you want to make. So
I'm curious, as you go through the rehearsal, maybe this doesn't happen to you because I know you have fewer rehearsals, but as you go through the process, you're getting closer to the concert, things are getting a little stale. Other ways that you make it interesting?
There are. I do some things. Ed Lisk does a circle rehearsal.
I like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You just put all the chairs in a big old circle, percussionist too. Sometimes I'll it depends on how confident the percussion section is. Sometimes I'll put them smack in the middle and I'll just kind of rotate around the percussion section in the middle and then the rest of the band around that. Sometimes I'll put them where they usually are and then the wind players in a circle in front. Sometimes we're so big, we have to do 2 rings, but circle rehearsal is a thing. I'll do, a run through of a piece and have them change seats, get a new perspective, just like, okay, I'm setting a timer, 2 minutes, and you can change, go sit somewhere you don't normally sit in the room, be safe, so.
Yeah.
But, we'll do that.
That's one that I was going to talk about too, because there's very little that we can do as far as setup in our space just because of the lack of space. But the one thing that I really do enjoy doing is just putting on the board, and it happens very rarely, but it's, just go sit in a section that's not your section next to somebody who doesn't play your instrument.
Right.
And it's like chaos.
It's crazy.
And, we get half of the rehearsal time that we would normally get that
totally.
time.
But
it can be really useful. And then we'll stop and we'll say, okay, talk to me about what you heard that you never heard before.
Yeah, totally. Then they get to open their ears a little bit. I say that a lot. That's one of my stock things that I say all the time. I say, let your ears travel around the room. Let your ears go on a little vacation and, travel to the percussion section, travel to the, and travel to the low brass and make sure you check that out. So, that's a fun one. The mixed band thing. I like that.
Do you ever do a silent rehearsal?
Oh yeah. There's this one year I lost my voice repetitively for a month. I think it's season 2. You can hear it on the podcast. We delayed a couple of recordings because I had no voice, and then we just decided to have me talk like this, and for a couple episodes. But usually when I'm sick, I'll have a silent rehearsrsal. Not a punishment, not a special thing. It's usually when I'm sick. So I have those slides queued up already. They're saved in my Google Drive, for the board. I have that ready to go. How about you? Do you do that every once in a while?
I do when I find my kids are being too chatty.
Yeah.
I love when they don't expect it to.
Yeah. That's good.
When they come in, I don't say anything.
Yeah. Just say nothing.
We have little hand signals and we work out. I don't tell them the hand signals ahead of time most of the time. Yeah. But if I tell them to do something with my hands and they don't do it, I'll stop them and I'll say, I'll do it again, and they won't get it. And then somebody just can't help themselves and they're like, he means measure 42.
That's
and
funny.
I'll be like,
yeah.
But inside I'm going, thank you, child, who just translated for everybody.
Because that we were wasting some time there. Yeah, I hear that.
Brendan actually has a much more thought out system as to how he does his silent rehearsals, but I like to see them struggle a little bit and figure it out.
Oh, that's funny. No, I like that. I like the silent rehearsal thing. You know what? Because you said you have the name tents, the name tags and stuff. Sometimes I will just decide to put the trumpet section right up front. I'm like, this is your day, guys. You're going to sit in the front row. And they're like, why am I sitting here? It's like, because you got something to learn today. And they're like, oh, So, yeah. So sometimes it's a good thing. And sometimes it's just like, yeah, I need you. I can't let you be further away than arm's reach, So I do have another one that I do. And sometimes I'll just surprise them with it out of nowhere. And sometimes I'll tell them I'm going to do it, but I have them turn their music stand around, be like, we're going to play these 8 measures. We play it, we rehearse it. And then I'll just say, turn your stand around. And then they have to spin their stand around and play it from memory. And sometimes they could do it. But then when they spin it back around, you should see the intensity that they're looking at the notes and everything. And I'm just like, okay, that's good. That kind of checks a box. That kind of gets them into it. So
nice. I haven't done that. I should probably do that and see how it goes.
That one's fun. Yeah, that one I got from Nancy Simonisi. She sent me a whole list of just fun rehearsal technique things that I was like, oh, I could try that one, So yeah, that's an easy one because it's like 5 seconds of just like shock, and then like, oh wait, how well do I really know this, So, and I never require them to have anything memorized, but I tell them by the concert, you're gonna have most of this memorized, and they don't believe me. And then when I ask them to turn their music stand around, they could play, 8 or 16 measures. They're like, wow, I didn't know I knew that. It's kind of fun. So
yeah, I love that. Well, Jen, I love this conversation.
Me too.
It's nice to talk about some of the educational adjacent stuff like Airtable and how to organize. And, ways to, recruit and all that stuff. But it's also just nice to take a step into the actual teaching, the day-to-day in our classrooms.
Yeah, totally. The just what we do to make rehearsals happen. And, your kids, I'm sure, have fantastic rehearsal and performance etiquette after working with you, but it takes a while to build that up. So
it all starts at the elementary level. The kids that come up that have had this drilled into them, pretty regularly,
right?
And you can see it when we're in rehearsal.
But it's you got to be consistent. You got to be organized ahead of time. And I know I use the word pre-teach at least 3 times today. If you're curious about how I do that in different ways, reach out anytime, because I think that's a big part of the elementary level is giving them time to like sleep on it and just process it,
For sure.
So, yeah.
So to all our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to Take a Cue on this wonderfully cold November Monday.
Yep.
We hope today's episode gave you a few ideas and maybe a few laughs to bring back to your band room.
Yep. And if you like what you heard, hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, leave us a 5-star rating and review, please. It helps other music educators find the show and join our growing community.
If you know a colleague who'd love this podcast, share it with them. The more, the merrier, especially when it comes to talking shop about band.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Take a Cue Podcast, where we post like extra content, behind the scenes fun, and maybe the occasional rehearsal blooper.
We never make a blooper.
No, I never bloop. What's a bloop anyway?
Do you have an idea for an episode or a topic you'd like to hear us tackle? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
And until next time, let's get out there and make some great music.
And remember, every great performance starts with how you take a cue.
Thank you.